When you're reading, how do you know where the writer is going next? One of the best clues is hiding in plain sight. Transitions. Think of transitions as road signs for readers. They tell you how one idea connects to the next. Transitions are words and phrases that connect ideas. They can show sequence, introduce an example, add another point, show contrast, or signal a result. And when you're reading, these words can help you understand the structure of a paragraph, even when some of the vocabulary is unfamiliar. Let's look at an example. This is a paragraph that I have written about my mother. Here's our first transition. First. When you see the word first, what should you expect? You expect a first point. The writer, that's me, is beginning a list of ways that her mother influenced her. Then we see the next transition, for example. This is a signal that the writer is about to give a specific example of the idea that came right before it. Now, notice what happened. The writer gave us a general idea. She taught me to be creative. Then, the for example transition tells us, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean with an example. So when you're reading, don't just skip over transition words. Instead, ask yourself, what is this transition telling me to expect? Now, we get the transition another way. So that tells us that the writer is moving on to a second point. Then after that, we see for instance. And just like for example, this is another way of telling us that a specific example is coming. So now you can start to predict the structure of what the writer is saying. They make a new point, and then they move to an example that clarifies that point. Then we get the transition word finally. That's another important road sign for us, and it tells us that we're approaching the last point in the writer's list. And again, you have an example transition such as that signals that we're about to get an example. So again, you see a point followed by an example. Now, when you look at the whole thing, look at what the transitions have done for us. They essentially created a map of the entire paragraph. First, tells us you're getting the first point. For example, tells you that a specific example that clarifies that point is coming. Another way introduces the second point, and the transition for instance introduces another example. And finally, tells us that we are at the last major point. And such as tells you there's an example. The transitions make that organization visible to you.